alongside head football coach Chad Masters, John Edwards with you. And Coach, you took on a real tough Helias team last week. Didn't get the results you wanted, but there was a lot of things that happened in that game that might have caught a lot of Griffins fans by surprise, where you score the first play from scrimmage. There was actually 3 scores in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And then things kind of leveled off.
Right, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of scoring early, I think, as both of us tried to figure each other out a little bit and took advantage of a couple things. But it was, from the casual observer, if you just showed up to watch a game, you probably got your money's worth. It was a well-played game on both sides. I mean, hats off to Helias. Their kids played extremely hard, and I knew that coming in. They're always well coached, and they have such a good tradition behind them, and great participation in the program, and they always have really athletic and tough kids, and so we got everything that we expected out of them. We just kind of happened to come out on the tough end of that. We probably gave up a little bit too much in the first half defensively. We got some of those things fixed, but then it was just a little bit, kind of too late towards in that second half for us to really kind of turn the corner. But we were in that thing all the way through, and I was real pleased with how hard we played from start to finish. I think that's been a great thing in this group so far this season, is how hard they'll fight and how hard they'll play every game.
You're 21-14 down, latter stages of that second quarter. Griffin John throws an 80-yard touchdown completion to Jacob McCauley, which ties things up at the half, or gets you, at least you think you're tied at the half.
Right.
Their field goal kicker, who probably kicked the ball all the way out to St. Charles.
He's special.
He nails one to give them a 24-21 lead. You had opportunities in the third quarter. It just seemed like, I think as the game went along, I think because of the amount of guys that played both sides, I think it's just a physical wear and tear.
Yeah, and we always have the philosophy, that's something we've been preaching from day one, that we've got to get a team into the to the fourth quarter and then make our move there. And I think we, outside maybe Fayetteville, those are the last 2 games, we've done that to teams. We just kind of ran out a little bit of steam, and that's something we got to get better at. And Helias had a little bit of say in that too, with some things they were doing. But we came out with a little bit different things offensively on the second half, made some adjustments, and it worked. But one thing that we're working on still right now is just continuing to get as good execution as we can. And the difference, between scoring 2 or 3 more touchdowns and not, literally came down as we looked on film. Was just a block here, a block there, an angle here, an angle there. On the defensive side of the ball was just, eyes in the wrong place sometimes, just forgetting to do a simple assignment. So to us as coaches, when we look at this, it's frustrating, but then at the same time, it's encouraging because these are fixable things. And the kids want to fix them, and they're working hard to fix them. So it gives us a great feeling moving forward that we're making good progress. And we just need to continue to get better ourselves and execute better and do all the things and keep the level of intensity we've had.
Defensively, it seemed like you were getting a little bit more pressure on the ball in the second half of the game against their offensive line, which was much bigger than our defensive front.
Yeah.
But it seemed like we were getting a little bit more pressure on the ball and forcing them to do some things that may be a little bit out of the normal, but because of the size on that offensive line, they were able to run the ball pretty well.
Right, and their quarterback, the Weaver kid, is so dynamic. I mean, that guy, he could throw well, but his ability to run and escape, and then when they start emptying the backfield and leaving him in there, it puts some stress on you because he can throw good enough to throw the open guys at the set. So we have to honor that, and then you leave 5 or 6 guys in the box area, and with the size of their offensive line, and then with the running ability of him, it really forced us in some uncomfortable situations. Part of that second half is I think we got some issues in the secondary worked out that were kind of hurting us in the first half, and so that forced Helias to take a little more time. And we're able to get to him and get the pressure on him a little bit. But he was pretty slippery. So even when we got there, it was tough to get him down. And then you're so locked in on what he's doing, and the running back was able to get out a few times. So, it's again, live and learn each week and find things that we can hone in on and get better at on both sides of the ball and just continue to do those things and really plan for that back end of the schedule. Every week's basically a new test, a new step in where we want to be at when it comes to playoff football time.
Did it surprise you they emptied the backfield out in the second half? Because in the first half, their back was doing okay, but then it seemed to change because on one of the punts, the ball hit him. It was a fumble where he recovered, and then all of a sudden he disappeared.
Yeah, they were just trying to get him out of the way too.
It almost seemed like, hey, you know what, there was one mistake, and it seemed like he kind of disappeared from the offensive part of the game for them, where then they started to try to attack you downfield a little bit more, and then the second half they took him completely out of the mix. They lined him up way out to the wide, and then they left the quarterback in the backfield by himself.
And I think for them, they trust their quarterback, and he's their guy, and they say, you know, we're going to win or lose this thing based on him, you know, and I think that's kind of where they went there, you know. And
so there was no surprise.
There's no surprise. I mean, we kind of knew they might go down that path eventually. We knew they were showing a little bit early in some other games, but they haven't gone that heavy into it. We knew it was definitely a possibility, so we weren't totally surprised. Now the volume they were in on it was a little surprising, you know, and we knew that, you know, with a week before the Altoff and the empty they gave us quite a bit, you know, that we knew that might be something they would do, and we know that might be something that people down the road do to us. So we're going to continue to develop answers for that, you know, as a staff, so we can put our kids in a position to be successive.
Tomorrow night you get Chaminade, a tough team who's come off a loss against CBC, and really the Griffins have done well against them over the last couple of years. Does things change for this team going into tomorrow?
I mean, not our approach to anything. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, Chaminade's got a great team. I mean, they're athletic. They've got probably one of the top quarterbacks in the area directing their offense. They're athletic.
Mizzou commit, right?
Yeah, he is. They're very athletic on defense. I mean, and it's an MCC game. But you know, the thing is that I believe our kids are ready. They've got the right attitude about things. They like getting into conference play and kind of testing themselves against each other. I have no doubt that Chaminade will be excited. Our kids will be excited. It's going to be a pretty hotly contested game. You know, I mean, there's things that we have to stop that they do. You know, we just have to be able to, you know, contain them on the offensive side and be able to consistently move the ball and finish drives on the defensive side. You know, one of the things we take away, you know, from the Helias game, and it's popped up a few times in the first few weeks, is we've got to finish drives. You know, we got to get in situations where we can, you know, we don't have to punt, or at least get in positions where we're on the, you know, plus side of the field. And we were able to do that a few times, but we kind of hurt ourselves on a couple penalties on some special team looks, which forced us into a couple different things. And you know, it's just one of those things. You know, we got to continue to get better there. So that's what we're looking for this Friday again, is simply just improve ourselves against a really good competition and what looks like a pretty good rivalry too. You know, Vianney,
your first MCC.
It's my first MCC game, so I'll get a good flavor of that right there. So, but the kids are excited. I mean, they love playing these games, and they love the opportunity to go against some, you know, good friendly rivalries in the conference, and they're looking forward to it. So we're looking forward to, again, just finding how we can get better, and how much better we can compete with somebody.
Fundraising night for you guys tomorrow, correct? If I'm understanding correctly, they're doing a fundraising effort for the hurricane victims, and talk about how the team's participating in that.
Right.
Is the team participating in that?
with the Mariners schools and everything else. So just, you know, bringing some money and things. I mean, they've been doing things here at school, but also they'll be doing it at the gate there too, and just trying to do a little bit to help as much as they can. You know, with all those people that tragically have been affected in the Bahamas and other areas with the hurricane that came through, and really put them in a tough spot. And it's kind of one of those things that we got to take a pause and remember that we get to play a high school football game, you know, in the comforts of this city tomorrow night, you know, and there are people who are struggling even to have housing, water, and food, not only there, but in a lot of places, but this specifically for the reason we have. So I think it's a great reminder to be grateful and have some gratitude for what we're offered, and at the same time be willing to just kind of step aside and be willing to reach a hand out and help people up. So I think it's a great opportunity for both communities to get together and make a little bit of difference in the world.
Last week, I forgot to bring this up, but I'll bring it up this week. I had an opportunity to meet your wife last Friday night.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, after the first win of the season, there was a picture that snuck up on social media of you and your wife after the game. And talk about how much your wife has kind of supported everything that's kind of gone on with the family and its relocation and your coaching and how supportive she's been for you, because family is the first and foremost.
It's a big deal. We've been married 18 years now. Dated for a couple years prior to that, so I'm not sure she ever would have thought herself being the wife of a high school football coach, but we were both in education together, so she knows you'd be a teacher and a coach. But through the years, we've come to see our marriage together and the ministry of me coaching, especially in Catholic schools now, to be kind of a family ministry, and she has become as much a part of the programs I coach with. I used to, a long time ago, I used to kind of, have those kind of divisions and those walls of like, this is football, this is family, you kind of keep everything separate. And that just wasn't very great, I felt, after a while. And so I invited basically her and my family into that, and into the football family. And she's played a real active role, everything from, doing, previous school of doing laundry and stats and, just helping wherever she can with meals and things. And she really starts to see those boys as just I do, like extensions of our family. And she just loves being around. It's awesome to have her a part of that experience, because it takes so much. I mean, it's not just myself or her. It's, coaches and their wives across the state, across this country, who sacrifice so much of their time and their family time to take care of the 30 to 100 boys that we have on a football team in a given day or any given night. And so, our losses are her losses and our wins are her wins, and it's just really awesome to be able to share that experience with her. And it was just kind of one of those moments where just so much with the move and everything else, and coming off that first week and coming here home, and it was just a call to God moment. But it was just a moment where we could kind of embrace and get together a little bit and just take time for a quiet prayer and just some emotion there. That it's the first of many, I hope, here. But more importantly, it's just a reaffirmation of our purpose and our ministry here in this community, with these boys in this school. It was just kind of a letdown moment. It was a really kind of nice, special moment. She's there with me in the tough times. The losses, like last week. And after a hard-fought game, there's a lot of emotions there. She's there with me after the wins. It's just kind of all the way through. So, and not only just me, but our family in general, but also just the team. And I really love having her around. And it also gives an opportunity for young men to see that I'm a human being and that I have a family. And that I want them to model that too. I want to be able to be a witness to a strong Catholic faith and a family outside of what they see on their in their own families, that their coaches care about them, they care about families. I'm a dad, I have 2 boys, and I have a wife, and how I treat my wife and how I do these things. I think they're all great learning opportunities for our young men to be exposed to that in a great faith-rich Catholic environment.
Coach, I always appreciate a few minutes of your time. Best of luck against Chaminade.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again next week. Head coach Chad Masters and the team takes on Chaminade tomorrow night over at Chaminade High School, 7 o'clock kick. We'll see Coach Masters tomorrow evening. We'll catch up with him again next week.
Go Griffins.